Good morning, friends. This is Ritz Riley, reaching you live from Manzanillo in Limon in Costa Rica. Today, we're at the Refugio Silvestre Gandoca Manzanillo. This is a refuge for wildlife, and it is very important to the town of Manzanillo and the southern Caribbean point of Costa Rica, because this is where we come to relax. This is where we come to see wild animals, monkeys, crabs, fish, and you can also swim at this park, which is wonderful. Costa Rica has instituted many rules in order to keep us safe. One of the main rules is controlling the amount of people that go to the beach and the times that they go to the beach. So right now, Costa Rican law, you can go to the beach from 5 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. This park opens at 8 a.m. and you can stay and use the water and the resources until 2:30 at the beach, but then use the park until 4 p.m. So first things first, we're going to stay safe. What they've done is instituted these washing areas. So you have soap, and you yourself pump the water out to make sure that you are nice and clean. Got to stay safe, right? The next thing you're going to do to come over here with this lovely lady, she's going to take my temperature and make sure that I'm COVID ready to get inside the park. Thank you. So she's just giving me my temperature so I know that I'm okay. I'm not over the limit when it comes to the temperature I have on my body. The next thing you do is sign in to register yourself into the refuge. One of the most important things is this is a voluntary contribution. There is no set price limit for you to come into the park. So I've already paid my part. So we did that a little bit ahead of time to not disturb the timing of this video. So basically you sign in with your name, the number of people in your party, you deposit your money right here, and you, once again for safety reasons, rub with alcohol gel. So let's go on into the park. Thank you. The best thing about this park is that you start off with an adventure almost immediately. What do we have here? A hanging bridge. I know some of you will get a little bit nervous. I don't know about a hanging bridge, but it's actually a lot of fun. So kids love it, people love it, and then you just kind of get on here, feel it swinging a little bit. Cece, my awesome camera woman, is going to show you guys basically what you see when you are on the bridge. They've also marked the bridge with yellow so that you know exactly how to social distance yourself between one person and the other. I'm going to have Cece span over so you can see this river that leads out to the ocean here in Manzanillo. Now you're probably thinking that this water is dirty, but it's actually not. The reason that it has this coloring is because of the almond trees that line the actual river. And when I say almond trees, I'm talking about this tree right over here. These are almond trees. So for all of those of you who are doing those keto diets and talk about almond flour and everything, this is the actual fruit that you are consuming. Actually, the nut that is inside that fruit is the nut that you're using for your almond flour when you just buy almonds from Planters and all these other brands that you have. That's the almond. So basically the almond leaves fall into this little bit of a river, and that makes it get that brownish, reddish tone that you're seeing in the water over here. So that is where our adventure begins here at Manzanillo National Refuge. Come on in. We have a lot more to see. The first thing you want to think about is just keep your eyes open, because there's so many little animals and critters running around. And I'm glad that you guys are able to join me today, because now it's when you can actually see all of these places that I kept on talking to you about, just being in raw nature, enjoying being in the outdoors. This is our outdoors. This is what we call our nature sanctuary. So we're going to look at the sign here for the entrance to the park, and I want you guys to see this really beautiful entrance that they've done for the Refugio Silvestre Gandoca Manzanillo. one of our national symbols is this animal right here, which you call a manatee in the United States, and we call a danta. So manatee or danta. So this beautiful animal is one of our national symbols, and you can actually see these animals in this park, but in the park that is Gandoca, not Manzanillo. This area has two parts. Manzanillo, which is a beautiful town that has great Caribbean restaurants and has that beautiful beach. And then you have the area called Gandoca, which you need to take a boat to get to Gandoca so that you can go admire these beautiful animals. And you have this great saying by Charles Darwin: the love for all living creatures is the most noble attribute of man. What a great way to start a park and a place that's focused on nature. So let's go on in. I'm going to show you a little bit of the basics here. The great thing about this park is that they actually have restrooms and everything ready for you to change if you need to do so. Put on your swimsuit, kind of use the restroom. So we have all of that here already ready and set in a Caribbean and beautiful style. This over here is a map that basically is going to tell us where we're going into the park, what we can see. So right over here is our main entry point. We are actually coming in right here in the town of Manzanillo. But as you can see, you can do a hike to Punta Mona, and here is where you see the manatees, which is over in the Gandoca region of the park. So that's something important to keep in mind. If you want to see a manatee and if you want to take a tour, you should. But keep in mind that that won't be at this part of the park, but further in. So here we have a crab that just kind of snuck in. All of these little holes that you see here are actually crabs that are hiding inside, inside here. So when they feel the vibration of us walking around, that's when they disappear and run off. So let's see if we can keep our eyes open, see if we get to see a monkey or something like that while we take our little journey through the park. So as you can see, you just have a lot of beautiful trees, coconut trees, almond trees, kids running around enjoying nature, screaming, hooting and hollering. What more can you want, right? You want your children happy. You want somewhere where children can run and be free and feel great. And that's what we have here. The beautiful beach, the almond trees, the children in the water, and of course, us walking around. Hi kids, how you doing? And saying hi. So as we walk through this park, one of the other safety regulations that they've put into the park, before you used to be able to sit down here and have a little bit of a little barbecue or a picnic if you want to call it that. Right now, they're asking people not to do that. It's very important that people don't congregate or sit down, and also just for keeping your health safe, because you can sit down somewhere, then you get up and leave, but is someone really sanitizing that area? We have to stay safe. So for that reason, the government has decided to institute a policy where within the national parks and wildlife refuges, we do not have the option to actually sit down and kind of congregate for extended periods of time. The idea here is more for you to come in and enjoy with family. So here we see a crab. Oops, just this one. But there are a lot of crabs in there. You can see the little orange tentacles while they're trying to run back into their holes right here. This is kind of tricky. Let's look over here actually, this spider that I was talking about before. If we have any biologists that know exactly what kind of spider this is, I'd love to know. I have no clue, but there are quite a few around the park, and it's really something magnificent. So Cece's gonna try to get a little bit of a closer focus on this spider, which is quite impressive and really, really beautiful. We don't know if it's poisonous. It might be, so that's why we're not really getting too extremely close. We're just making sure that you get a feeling of how beautiful it actually is in this raw nature. Very nice. Thank you, Cece, for focusing on that. The other thing we were talking about is if you look up, you're going to see something that looks like a big nest And that's what we call, you see that big brown ball? We call that docans in, that's our Caribbean slang. Or termites, actually.
Hello.
These are, hi,
Hi.
these are termites. So they're in this, most of these nests are not really active anymore, but you can see the trail of the termites from the bottom of the tree trunk all the way to the top to where they were nesting and consuming the trees. So here in the park, they just let these things kind of run wild in order for you to get a feeling of what nature's really doing and not have a feeling of things being orchestrated. This is just raw. We can run into any kind of animal at any point in time. And there are a few people visiting the park today. So that's, oh, let's see. There, I just saw a bird fly over here. Let's see if it's a hawk. I saw a hawk yesterday. I think it is. See if you can get that limb right over there. There's a black, I think it's a hawk. You can see his yellow beak. He's straight ahead.
Yeah, I see him.
That's the thing, you guys. Here in Puerto Viejo, in Hawita, in Manzanillo, whenever you see something move or you see a limb move, you need to look over. You don't know what could be in that tree. I don't know if Cece was able to catch it. Now he looks like he's just about to maybe take flight. But
Yeah, I
there
got
you
him.
see a really beautiful, beautiful animal. Wow, how nice. That was nice to see. Doesn't look like he wants to go anywhere, so we're gonna let him be. And let's keep on walking a little bit. So, as I was mentioning before, where we're headed to right now is the lookout point. So one of the main things about Manzanillo Park, it's an easily walkable park. It's a place that's, as you can see how wide the paths are here. If somebody came here in a wheelchair or with mobility issues, that's not a problem in this park because they've cleared the path so that when you walk through here, you're comfortable and you're able to access the beautiful parts of the evening. One of the places, or the main place that we're heading to, is a lookout point that's going to be just down the path in a few minutes. So the walk is basically an 8-minute walk where you're looking at nature, seeing what little animals and critters appear, and you're able to entertain yourself while you take that walk. When we get to the lookout point, you guys are going to see just how magnificent this place is, because we'll be almost on a ridge on top of a rock, and we'll be able to see a small island off of the coast and then the waves rolling in. So that makes you feel like you are the king of the world, like Leonardo DiCaprio would say in Titanic. But really, when you can admire just raw nature like this, it is such a blessing. And I do hope that in the future, if you have the opportunity, for all of those of you that live in Limon, live in San Jose, live in Heredia, live in Costa Rica, and can come out here, I absolutely recommend that you come here to Manzanillo and experience it for yourself. There is another option of a national park, which is Hawita National Park. Right now, from Puerto Viejo, it's about a 30-minute drive to get to Hawita, just about. From Limon, it's about a 40-50-minute ride to get to Hawita. So it's another national park, but on a much larger scale, much bigger than this. This is a little baby park compared to what we would see in Hawita. The waves are actually sounding so loud and so magnificent right now. And the sky is just a little bit overcast, but that makes it better, because when it's hot here, it is really hot. Oh, there's that squirrel.
Where is
We
he?
saw a squirrel a little while ago, and now you'll see a little bushy tail over there.
Oh,
He's on a trunk over there. He's reappearing. So the surprising thing about this national refuge is that there are actually homes embedded into the refuge as well. So as you can see, we have these beautiful homes that are here. I think it's a total of 5 or 6 homes that are in the Gandoca Manzanillo, at least the Manzanillo area. And this is kind of like a clearing path that they have in front of their home. I wanted to show you guys this plant. This is the noni fruit right here. And when I was a little kid, they would always tell us not to touch this fruit because they thought it would put blisters on your skin. But later on in life, we were able to find out that the noni fruit is actually medicinal and was used in the area, in Tahiti and areas like this, as a medicinal plant and fruit. So there was a time, maybe about 20, 25 years ago, that people started to harvest this for everything from cancer straight back to just case of gastritis or colitis. But people were drinking this a lot. Later on, the boom kind of faded away. A lot of people that had plantations of these noni fruits ended up having to shut those down, so that was disappointing. But for a while, this was a fruit that people were really going after and starting their businesses and really taking advantage of the great properties that this fruit has to offer. Let's go on in this way. As you can see, the chatterings of people that come into the park. We're keeping our distances as well, trying to social distance, but that's not a problem here because of just the amount of space that we have. And the main thing that everywhere they're telling us, go out, be outside, breathe, have that ocean air, have that fresh air be around. That's healthy. That's good for you. So why not? We're here and we're enjoying it. Here we get to see a couple more homes that are nestled in this area. I always wonder what it would be like to live here and to have the ocean so extremely close. I think sometimes it looks like it would be fun, but then I think I'd be scared sometimes, right? If there's a storm or something like that.
Water.
Exactly, you just don't know what could be coming at you. And yesterday when we came to check out the park and just see if we would be able to access everything through Facebook Live, there was a storm here, and it was something really kind of
Intense.
Intense and scary because everything was swinging from side to side. I don't think you guys would have wanted to be live with me yesterday because that was really, really something. But nature at its best, that beauty of it being beautiful and tranquil like it is today. Continue to just stand out a little bit so people can see a little bit of how nature meets with the ocean here. It's really, really beautiful. And if you get to span over here, Cece's kind of showing us a little bit of the coast. So today is a really clear day. I think far off you can see Hawita, and you can see other points like Puerto Viejo and so on. It's just really, really nice. When we get to another clearing, we'll try to get another view of that. But the beauty of it here is that just for you to see those trees and that raw nature interaction with the sea, which is so hard to find. So many places you can find the ocean, or you can find trees and animals. But to have that combination of both things in one place is something that Costa Rica is especially great at, just by the natural resources that we have.
People
so here,
they
here
can't
we have
hear.
another set of spiders hanging out, and with that sound that you're hearing, they call them here chicharas, right? And it just makes that noise. In English, I can't remember the name. If somebody is watching this and can think of the name of that little animal, that little kind of a cricket that makes that noise, write it down, send it to us. And also the name of that spider, because I'd love to know the name of that spider so that we can start putting everything together. So here's another great point that we can go into. Ooh, I think he's following us. We're going to walk alongside the water right now so you guys get a feeling of how beautiful it actually is here. Because we're here at the ocean, walk around, hang out, get those feet wet. Yeah, that's a beautiful view. Getting all of the coast right here. park does for us is they'll put out flags that tell us what kind of circumstances we're having inside the water. So for us to be careful, if it was a yellow flag, it's a yellow flag today, that means caution. Because of course yesterday there was a storm. So because the storm was here, the waves are a lot stronger. So that makes us have to be cautious when we go into the water. If that was a red flag, that's telling us do not go into the water at all. So that's something that you have to keep in mind when you're here in Costa Rica. Please follow the instructions of the people that are here trying to protect us, to make sure that we have a safe and natural environment when we come to our national parks and our wildlife refuge. So right now we're approaching the lookout point that I talked to you guys about. We're going to take a quick little circle here where you can see the coral reef here on the coastline. We had our little mast. We could go in and start checking out all the little creatures that are inside here. I always like to do that with my son, come out here and check out all the wildlife that's just embedded sometimes in the coral reef that we have. Always remembering not to step on the coral. Corals are alive. There are a lot of some animals that live in there. So the best thing you can do is snorkel, look at it from inside from the water standpoint, and stand on the sand. Don't stand on the coral. You'll be careful when you visit our national beach. Okay? So we're going to go on in here. Of nature and these trees that are so extremely tall and high. That's part of the beauty of this park. Oh, look, there's that little insect we looked at before. We're trying to figure out what that, it looks like a little wasp or something like that. He's coming towards us now. There he is. Kind of has these little yellow and orange wings. Very pretty. So this is the entry point for the lookout point. And as you can see here, they've made it accessible as well. So any of our folks that are coming that need wheelchair access, this is your wheelchair access over on the right-hand side. On this left-hand side, I'm going to have to hike it up. They've done a good job of recycling, putting these big tires with sand in them to hold the ground. Before this was kind of like a mud bath. You used to have to try to climb up here in the middle of mud and everything, and it was a little bit crazy. But now they've made it accessible and they've made this step a lot easier. And then another person in the park. Hello. We're going to come this route because they actually have a little tombstone of someone that was buried here. So this mirador, or lookout point, is called Miss May Point. And this is a tombstone that's been here forever. This is a person that's called Peter Ansel, and he was born in the year of 1878 on the 25th of September. So this is where he's been laid to rest. It's a little bit eerie, but at the same time, that's how things were done back in the day. People were buried where they lived. People were buried in places that they consider sacred and beautiful, and this is where he was laid to rest. So, rest in peace. We're going to come now and see Miss May. Okay, so when you first walk over here, you're like, where are you taking me? Maximum 10 people, folks. Keep this in mind. Very, very important. So we're going to walk over here, and Cece's going to do what she does best, which is to get the view of the island that you can see right off the coast. This beautiful island is in so many pictures, because once we get to the point, you're going to see how people take pictures from here. Let's come over here. As I said, we're on a bluff, if you want to call it that. And here is where the sea is breaking right underneath it. So as you can see, if you can stand over, this is our lookout point, Miss May Point. On a clearer day, you could see right through that water and see how the ocean breaking right here on the bluff. Far off, like I was mentioning before to you guys, you can see Hawita, Puerto Viejo, all of these beautiful places and beautiful towns. And as this series and this program progresses, I'm going to try to bring you a mixture of things that you can see over here in the southern part of the Caribbean coast. But also, once we're able to travel and things lighten up, I'm going to take you to other parts of Costa Rica and eventually probably the world. As some of you know, I was a travel director and we used to travel all over. And I think this is a perfect platform for people to start seeing other areas of the world. So here, this is the main point. As you can see this couple over here, they're taking the picture. And the picture is to have that island right there behind you. That is the picture that so many people hike through this wildlife refuge and come out to just get that perfect shot of a couple or your kids or your family getting that island in the back. And these beautiful waves and everything. So, as we said, only 10 people allowed. So I'm going to show you. So you see, this would be the typical picture, would be kind of right here, smiling, saying hello, and getting the island behind you. So that's the shot that you want to go for. So folks, I hope you had a nice time with me, joining myself, Ritz, Riley, and Cece behind the camera. And this is Manzanillo Wildlife Refuge. If you get a chance, please come out and visit us. You see, we're keeping in line with everything that's being asked of us. And these towns in the southern Caribbean part of Costa Rica need you to come out and visit with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. Signing off. Bye-bye.